Yo, welcome to Wiz Loves Cars, and this is the 2021 Porsche Cayenne. Today we're going to be talking about the 2021 Porsche Cayenne, and this particular Cayenne is a cashmere color. I love the color. It's literally sparkles. It's a great color, great car. So today what we're going to do is we're going to walk around the car. We're going to do a complete walk around. I'm going to talk about the front. I'm going to talk about the back. I'm also going to talk about the interior as well as the exterior, and then we're going to go ahead and take this on the road and take it for a spin and drive around the neighborhood, and you'll be able to see what this car can do. All right, so this Cayenne actually comes with the Porsche dynamic light system, which is pretty standard. It adds to that extra level of illumination and that crisp clarity as you're driving at night. And then also in the daytime, people can see you because you have those 4 LED running lights as a point of reference to let people know that you are pulling up in a Porsche. So one thing I also want to mention about these lights is pretty dope feature. So we were driving at night and I realized that there is a feature associated with this, that if you're driving on a dark road or a poorly lit road, what's going to happen is this car is actually going to turn on the brights automatically, so you have a better field of view as you're driving at night. And then if there were a car that was coming in the opposite direction towards you, this light system is going to sense that car, and it's going to basically put those headlights back down to the regular headlights that you would use if you were just driving. And then as soon as that car passes, or that set of cars passes, what's going to happen is it's going to turn back on those brights, so you have that expanded field of view. So that's really great for you, so you have that visibility, and it's really great for the people that are coming towards you because you're not blinding them with your lights as well. So I think that's really dope. I've never seen any other car that has this feature or this functionality. So if there is one, drop it in the comments below, let me know. But for right now, Porsche is winning with this headlight system that they have. Additionally, they've opened up the front fascia on the 2021 Cayenne models, and that's going to allow for a lot more air intake. Additionally, one other thing I want to point out here is the front parking camera. It's super dope. You won't hit anything. You can see exactly what's going on in front of you. It works just like a rear parking camera. You can literally see everything as you're pulling up into a parking spot or tight spaces or anything like that, to make sure that you're not hitting anything. And this actually pops on automatically depending on where you are, when the sensors feel like you're in an area where you're going to need some additional guidance and some additional direction when you're parking. Now, this hood, there's so many things to talk about. This is so dynamic, and it has a lot of this nice trim where you can see a lot of the trim lines kind of going up the car on both sides, and it just adds to that appeal and adds to that sporty look that Porsche is trying to go for. Also, the way these headlights are sitting in here horizontally also adds to that nice broad look, and it shows you that this is a monster that's about to take over the road. So I really like everything that has gone into the design of these vehicles and the craftsmanship and the level of thought from the designers of this Porsche Cayenne. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to take it onto the side of the car, and we're going to look at the wheels and, you know, kind of work our way to the back and work our way around before we start to go inside. So as we walk around Cashmere, so I'm actually just gonna call this Cayenne by its color, Cashmere, because I just love that color. I love the name. So one thing I want to talk about really quickly as we move around the car is the actual rim. So this Porsche Cayenne comes equipped with a 20-inch rims all around, and this has more of that Porsche spoke rim, and it looks really good on the car. It really sets it off. It adds to that nice full look, that full aesthetic. So we're gonna walk on down, and you know, nothing to really Nothing crazy going on here. The trim lines just continue on down the car. One thing I am going to ding Porsche on right here is the actual plastic that's going around the bottom of this car and on the back as well. So, you know, if you're going to be buying a $68,000 car, you should at least do something a little bit better with that piece of the trim. But that's my only ding for right now for Porsche. Another thing that's really cool is there are cameras in the actual side view mirrors, and this is going to add to that dynamic surround view that you have when you're either backing the car up or you're pulling into a parking spot or driving through a tight space. You're going to be able to see what's going on your left side, your right side, and all around the vehicle. So you have this 360-degree field of view around the car. Another thing that's really cool about this as well is there's these buttons that are kind of in the car where you can basically lock or unlock the car by just simply tapping this little area right here that's on the actual door handle. And you also have to have the key on your person if you're going to do that. It's not going to work for you if you just walk up to the car and do it. So totally safe. All right, so as we continue on to the back, you'll start to see these trim lines just continue on, and it still has that nice sporty look, and it just kind of bevels down back here as we start to walk into the back of the car. And now we're going to just transition to the back and talk more about the trunk and a lot of those features there. All right, so now at the back of the car, which is actually probably one of my most favorite places on Cashmere. Now, here you have the Porsche Cayenne badging. So you can see Cayenne written here clearly across the back. There's also 4 other spots within the car, and I believe there may actually be more where you'll actually see some of this Cayenne badging as well. So the first thing that we want to talk about is the 3D lights. Now these lights basically wrap from the left side of the car to the right side of the car. You can actually see some bits of it on the side of the car as well. And this is just a nice, slick look. And then you have the words Porsche written beyond the light. So it gives it that futuristic look. I really like it. I like seeing the back of these cars in the daytime or at nighttime. It's really a staple piece from Porsche, and I really think that it really sets off this entire look for this car. You have a nice big back window here that's pretty good. So a lot of these, you know, newer sports activity coupes typically have limited visibility, but this, you don't have that issue, right? You have this bigger window here. You also have these this wiper here, so if it's raining or anything like that, it'll clear it off. Or if you got to deal with snow or anything like that, that'll also happen as well. There's also another light bar that's here at the top, and that's going to be an additional brake light there. Again, rear parking cameras there. And then as we move on down, the only thing that I'm going to ding this car on again is the plastic trim that's down here. So I don't really like that. I think once you move up in the different models, once you get to the S and GTS, I don't think that these actually have that. So, you know, you're gonna have to pay a little bit more for it to look a little cleaner, but I don't think it takes away from the overall look of the car. It's just me nitpicking more so. But I think if you're gonna be paying, again, $68,000 for a car like this, you should at least get a better trim. Another thing that I want to touch on really quickly is I like the rectangular tailpipes that this Cayenne has on it, and it really gives it continues that wide look, and it just adds to that sport appeal and that luxury look that this car is going to offer you. Additionally, this car also has a powered lift gate, so I'm going to demonstrate how to open that, and then from there what we'll do is we'll talk a little bit about the trunk and the space that we have back there. So now we're going to get a little bit inside the trunk and talk about that a little bit more. And like I always say, it's a trunk. We won't spend too much time here. Now, in this Cayenne, it actually has 15% more cargo room than all of its predecessors. So Porsche actually did some work and made this a little bit bigger, so you have a little bit more storage capacity. You can fit more things in here. The seats actually fold down as well, and I'll show you that. Additionally, you also have a shade that comes out here. So, you know, in case you're at the mall or you're shopping or anything like that, or you have some valuables back here, you can actually put this shade over there and it will get rid of those inquisitive people. They won't be able to see what you got back there. So Really like this shade, really easy to use, really slick, goes away pretty quickly. You can also take it out if you need to, if you need more space. Down here, you don't necessarily get any additional space, but there is a spare tire down here that you can leverage. There's also a little bit of space around it, so if you did want to store some additional valuables or anything like that, you can leverage that, but it's not much space for bigger items or anything like that. You also have a cargo net here on the left, and plenty of space, plenty of room to do whatever you want to. So I'm going to close this, but there you go. That's the trunk. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take it on inside and talk a little bit more about the interior of this car, and then we're going to take it on the road. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to hop in Cashmere, and I'm going to tell you all about the inside. So one thing I want to talk about real quick are these keys. So I really love these keys. Love what Porsche did with these keys. They look like a little car, and I really like those. So to get in, what I got to do is just literally press this area here, and that allows me to open the car up. So once we're inside here, what I want to talk about before I actually hop in is the trim in this car. So you have the black trim that's all around this vehicle. So when you think about the side of the car here on this door, the front of the car on the dash, it has this black trim all the way around. It also has this nice gray interior that I really like. So another thing is the handle. So Porsche always has these unique handles within their vehicles, and I like to call them the oh shit handles, but you know, this car is a pretty fast car, so it makes sense to have handles like this. So you'll start to see these here, you'll see them alongside the center console and all around the car, but I really like them. They make it really easy to get in and out of the car. This car also has a Bose system, surround sound on the inside, so that's going to give you that nice bass line if you're listening to music with a lot of bass in it, and you're going to be able to hear this outside the car. So if somebody's walking alongside your car and you're bumping something, somebody's going to be able to feel it and hear it. So those are a couple things that I wanted to note. Last thing before we get inside is the badging that's on this car. So there's some Cayenne badging that's on the entryway of this car, and that's going to be located around the car on all of the 4 doors. So you'll see Cayenne as you open any door on this car. So I really like what they did with that. It's really consistent, and it just adds to the overall aesthetic of the car. There's a lot of things to talk about in here, so there's plenty of different things that I've probably haven't interacted with before, but we're going to talk about them. So this is actually going to be good. So once you actually get in here, there's so many buttons and so many controls, and quite frankly, it could be a little daunting when you get in here because you probably won't know what to do, but you know, everything's pretty much outlined, and it's another thing, it's kind of like a muscle, right? Once you get in here, you're gonna have to learn it. Similar to when I did the Tesla video, there's a lot of nuances that come along with that you're gonna have to learn, and the same thing goes with this vehicle as well. So the first thing that we're going to touch on is the LED digital dash that we have here. So it's pretty nice. It literally looks like a cockpit. So once you sit in here, you feel like, you know, you're the pilot of this vehicle. The steering wheel is pretty nice, pretty firm. It's a thicker steering wheel, a firm steering wheel. You can do a lot of things on the steering wheel. So you know, you have your volume controls here. You have all of the buttons and scroll balls on the left and right side, so you can basically control the left side of the instrument cluster. You can also control the right side of the instrument cluster, and then there you can see your maps, your G-force, which we'll get into later. You can also see a few other things there. You can, you know, check your tire pressure, check your fuel, all of those different things. So you can configure that however you want to and have these things sitting on that screen. The next thing is, as you look to the right, this big 12.3 inch screen on the Infotainment Hub. So here you can do plenty of things. You know, if you have this view kind of broken out, you have your Apple CarPlay that's here as well. You can control your climate settings, and you know, for yourself as well as the passenger. You can do a ton of things here. You can basically break this out and have it be a really big map if you're using the Porsche maps. If you're using Apple CarPlay, and I always say this, I feel like Apple CarPlay always has this limitation. So if you're hooked up to Apple CarPlay on the screen, you're only going to be able to use the map on the screen. If you try to use the map that's
in this cockpit over here, you won't be able to. It'll just basically be a dead map on the Porsche screen, but you will have your directions popped up over here on this screen. As you look down, there are a lot of controls down here. So here's you'll find your volume button, you'll find your climate control buttons for the fan on your side, so you can control the fan speed on the driver's side as well as the passenger side, which is pretty dope. You also have your media, home, car, apps, all of the different things. So it's basically an extension of the screen down here. So you can either basically do the touchscreen option on the screen, or you can basically take advantage of this console down here that has all of these buttons that you can take advantage of. Additionally, a couple things that I really like down here. So you can change the actual drive settings down here. So you have sport on my side, you have individual on the passenger side. I think it's kind of funny that individual is over here on the passenger side, because if they don't like the way you're driving, they can literally just press individual, so that way it takes you out of sport mode. And they also have heated and cool seats in here. Now, heated seats are paramount, and I really like that this has this feature, and these are nice porous ventilated seats that we're sitting on as well in this interior. And another thing before we kind of move on to the back and some of the other features are, I just want to highlight again this trim and how it sits in here. The silver accents around the vent, the silver accents on the steering wheel, the black, the silver accents, the gray, they all complement each other, and it really looks nice, and it really gives this a really nice appeal. And then again, I mentioned that there was some additional Cayenne badging in the car that I might not know about, so I actually found some right here next to the gear shift. And you know, as I move back down here, there's another little bit of space right here where you can basically put your key, and that's what I'm using it for. There are a couple more handles here. Again, there's a G-force monitor here in the instrument cluster, so I see why you would probably actually need these, because we're going to be going really fast. And then there's 2 cup holders, and then there's some additional storage here. There's a 12 volt charger here that you can use to, you know, charge phones and get some additional charging capacity. There's also 2 USB-C charging ports in here as well, and then this gives you some additional storage. It's not very deep, but it's effective, and you can put some phones here or whatever the case is. And then also up top you have the panoramic sunroof. And the shade's up right now, but you can pull this back on a cooler day to make sure that, you know, you can see outside and you have that really good view. And then there's also the lighting on the inside of the car. You can't really see it right now, but at night you can change the color, the ambient lighting in here. It can be blue, orange, whatever color you want, and then you can configure that on this infotainment screen as well. But yeah, so that's pretty much everything about the front of the car that I really like, and that I'm kind of paying attention to as I'm in here. But what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and take it onto the back of the car and talk a little bit more about what's going on back there before we take this thing on the road. All right, so as I leave Cashmere to head to the back seat, one thing I wanted to just touch on really quickly that I forgot to mention a little earlier is that the key is already built in to the car. So the key is actually on the left side. You won't see this on most other cars that have the push to start that's on the front, that's closer to the steering wheel, or down below by the gear shift. So this is a little different, so you don't have to actually use any of the push start functionality or anything like that, because there is no push start. It's basically just that key. And then as I close the door, one thing that's really slick is the assisted close. So I don't have to close this door all the way, and it'll close itself. So that's pretty dope. That's a feature that's on all 4 doors, and I really like that. So now we're gonna actually go ahead and hop into the back seat, and we'll talk a little bit about that. All right, so back here is pretty comfortable already. So there's plenty of head clearance there, and again, I'm 5'9", so there's plenty of head clearance back here. So I think someone that's gonna be, you know, either my height or even taller, all the way up to like 6'6", 6'7", all of that is gonna be good back here, gonna be comfortable back here. There's plenty of room here between my knees and the front seat. There's some storage back here in the back that flips out. I wouldn't necessarily put anything back here, but it's there if you need it. There's also the dual zone climate control as well that's here. So this one is actually a little bit different. I actually like it because it gives the passengers back here the autonomy to set the temperature and the fan speed for each of their areas, right? So I feel like this is more of a true dual zone climate control, if you ask me. I haven't seen this in any other cars yet, so I really like what Porsche has done with this. There's also a 12-volt charger down here for additional charging capacity. There's also a 2 USB-C outlets down here as well, so you have plenty of options when it comes to charging back here and being comfortable. And one other thing that is kind of prevalent back here as well too, so you don't just have these vents down here, you also have vents on the side that you can leverage as a passenger back here, so you can get maximum airflow when you're back here, and you won't get too hot or you won't get too cold or whatever the case is. So this is going to come in handy for those long road trips, or even when you just get in the car on a hot day, for everyone to get that cool breeze from the AC once they get in. Last couple things I want to talk about are just when you're getting in, the Cayenne badging that's on the ground here as you're getting in, so you know you're walking into a Cayenne, and it basically gives this car that identity. And the door handles back here, as I mentioned before, really love these. Really slick, really different, really unique, and you don't really see these on different cars. And you are just going to use this more so to either open or close the door, but separately you're going to use the handles up here to actually open the car up. So really like that piece. And then, as y'all know, my favorite functionality about back seats and SUVs is the fact that they recline. Boom. Chilling. All right, so you learned a little bit about the back seat, and now it's time for us to actually take this car on the road and take it for a spin and see what it could do. Time to drive. So far what I can say is you're definitely sitting a lot higher up in this, and you really get a chance to see the whole road, and you have that feel of being high up, and it just feels like you're more in control. It's really smooth too, really smooth ride. This road is also smooth, but overall, you know, little bumps, don't really feel it. This has really great suspension. It feels like I'm driving on a cloud. Okay, we got some corners coming up. Handles the corners pretty well. Oh yeah. Even accelerating into these corners, it still handles it. So this is a SUV, but it almost handles like a coupe in a sense. This feels no different than if I was in a coupe right now, something lower to the ground. This feels great. So far, nothing bad to say about this. So I remember I made the comment in my last video about BMW being the ultimate driving machine. Again, to be proven, because this Porsche, nice. Yeah, it's really fast, really quick, really agile. The steering wheel is great. Like, just everything about this is great. So I have no qualms about this vehicle so far. We're going over a little bit of a rougher road right now, and it's still handling just fine. There's a little bounce going on, but it doesn't feel like I'm dropping into a pothole or anything like that. It's just really, really, really comfortable, really, really, really smooth. And again, I would recommend this car as a car that you have in your arsenal. I would say. So Porsche is really, really growing on me. I haven't really driven them like that, but I really appreciate the opportunity to drive this one. My boy Nate over here also doubled as my cameraman today, so really appreciate that. Having someone double as the cameraman really helps push things along a little faster as well, other than shooting by myself. But no, this is a great car, so no qualms here on this. Yo, what's up everyone? That was an amazing test drive. This car is amazing. It definitely handles well. Really love everything about this car. The look, the feel, the finish, the fit. It's luxury. That's what we like. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thanks for all the love and support so far. I love doing these videos. I'm enjoying actually getting to
review these cars and go to different places and test drive these cars. I'm in Derby City right now, so I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm down here, you know, driving Porsches and having a good time and having a good weekend. So this has been really awesome, really great experience so far. Just want to tell everyone, if you're rocking with this video, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Tune in, hit the bell as well so you can get all my post alerts. So yeah, really thank y'all for watching and really appreciate y'all. Until next time, peace.